What is good, ladies and gents? This is your boy RTL Faith, and we're back with another manga, webtoon, or anime review. Yes, sir. Today we're going to be talking about Kaiju number 8. I know, right? I haven't talked about Kaiju number 8 on the channel for a dedicated video at all. And this is the time to do it because Kaiju number 8 is actually fire. And I think it's entering into a very interesting part of its story. I think, like, let's say, you know how things are broken up into like different phases of the story. I think the first main phase of the story is now concluded with the most recent thing happening in the latest chapter of Kaiju number 8 with our main character, of course. So I'm going to talk about it in a second. Let's get this to 11 likes because y'all are mad lads. No, let's get this to 8 likes because of Kaiju number 8. Yes. Hope you guys enjoy this one. As always, these are a lot of fun to make. Just, you know, appreciate the support on everybody who is watching these videos. Continue to make it, you know, because I find them very enjoyable. And if you guys want me to do more Kaiju number 8 content in the future, please let me know. Alright, so let's get into it and talk about Kaiju number 8. Now, first things first, what I want you guys to know in terms of Kaiju number 8 is that it is definitely one of those manga that seems to be breaking away into one of the next big things. Obviously, we know that the big manga of our current generation is Black Clover and My Hero Academia, and Jujutsu Kaisen and Dr. Stone really doing something, but definitely not surpassing the other two as of yet. But they are up there, especially Jujutsu Kaisen, but the manga doesn't seem to be going for much longer, so I don't know how much is it really going to do anything. It's like Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer was here, it dominated for a bit, but then it was gone, whereas Black Clover and My Hero Academia's stretch for this newer generation has been going on for a while, and a lot of people are speculating, with me included, that Kaiju number 8 might be the next big one to kind of dominate for a long period of time. I'm not going to say it's going to surpass those two or the older generation with Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto, but I am going to say that with the newer generation of manga that is coming in, Kaiju number 8 seems to be one of the ones to watch out for. Now, I've talked about other manga to watch out for already in past videos, but it seems like Kaiju number 8 might be the next big thing, especially if you guys count the are being aware of the sales numbers Kaiju number 8 has been pulling since its release. It's astounding. It has a very unique premise, very wide cast of characters, very good action, very good art, and it seems like it should be headed down an anime adaptation in the future, hopefully, especially since phase 1 is basically done.
Hey guys, it's Ali here, aka the video editor, and yes, I did just break into RTL's video. You might see me again just popping up to make a joke or something. You know, you can just skip this part, we don't care. But that's not the main point here. Just what I wanted to add is that I don't think RTL did a good job of explaining phase 1 because it doesn't get too deep into it. Many of you may or may not have heard of this thing called The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell, but it's pretty much a template where all stories follow. When RTL says phase 1, I think he means part 1 and 2 from where the manga is right now. He seems to be approaching reward phase. However, many stories can repeat certain events, such as possibly the main character comes back and finds a new mentor. So this display is not 100% accurate, but for the most part, Kaiju 8 does seem to be following this template. So yeah, just something I wanted to add to the video, and definitely not because I just wanted to test out my new avatar.
So animating that first part, because like the first part is kind of done, would be huge for, you know, whatever anime studio takes over Kaiju number 8. I know Chainsaw Man finally got their anime, but their manga is literally finished. Like the first, basically the main series is finished. They're getting a sequel, now they're getting an anime. Hopefully it doesn't take that long for Kaiju number 8, but you never really know. You need quite a bit of content to really animate it, but I think you can come out with like 12 episodes with the first part alone. I personally think so. Hopefully some anime studio agrees. Okay, yes sir. Now, before you get into Kaiju number 8, if you guys haven't read it already, it kind of reminded me on first appearance of series like World Trigger, a series where there are alien species invading the world. We got certain humans that are part of a certain system, a certain society, and their job is to fight these aliens, fight these creatures who are coming, and defeat them and take them out. Trained soldiers, a certain agency, certain military organization specifically handled or geared to take them on, with very unique weapons, very unique things that they do. Very similar kind of structure with Kaiju number 8, and obviously with the Kaiju aspect, one of the things that reminded me of off rip is Pacific Rim as well. If you guys are familiar with Pacific Rim, it's like a Kaiju monster type of movie, right? So it kind of got me the World Trigger plus Pacific Rim Kaiju number 8. Now, that if that kind of gives you a good picture in your mind, hopefully it does. Anyway, characters, man, ladies and gents, the main character we have here is Kafka Hibino. Hopefully I'm sounding that right. Now, this is one of those main characters that is very unique in terms of the type of person he is, right? It's a shonen jump series. So what is a shonen? It's a series geared to young adults, older teen males for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Kafka is not in that range in terms of his own age. He's in his 30s. We have a 30-something-year-old main character. And at first it kind of was like, okay, interesting. I don't know how many people are going to relate to him, but his personality, it's very relatable. He's still somewhat childish, but it is very unique because I don't know a lot of shonen series where their main character is in their 30s, right? We got Naruto, he was a kid. We got Ichigo, he was a kid. Luffy, he was a kid, or high teen at the very least. Like, I can go on. They're all like kids, teens. Even if they're older, maybe young adults, like early 20s. He's in his 30s. It was very weird. And another thing to kind of point out is someone who's like a driving force for a female character, but again, it doesn't seem like she's a female lead, but she's the most important female character. It's very weird, and her name's Mina. And she's a very weird character too, considering she's super badass. Like, in terms of badassery, she's up there. You know, her and Kafka's relationship is very interesting in terms of like how they grew up. Obviously Kaijus had played a big part in who they became, and Mina became a huge part of the military organizations that's taken on Kaiju, whereas Kafka wasn't as suited. He always tried, but he was never there, but he became very well informed in how Kaijus worked, which is a huge part of his character going forward. If you guys think about how Deku didn't have any quirk and he knew a lot about heroes, Kafka is very similar. In that 30 years of life, even though he wanted to be a soldier like Mina, he wasn't really cut out for it. So he really took another job involving Kaijus, but learned a lot about Kaijus that most people wouldn't know, especially if you're in the military itself. So very different lives. They drifted apart and they didn't really know each other until a certain situation happens, making Kafka a badass. And I'm not going to really dive into what happened so you guys can read it yourselves, but let's just say that if you guys know Kaiju number 8, if you've seen the cover, yes, it is badass. Yes, Kafka is a very unique character with a very OP power, bro. I'm just saying. It's one of those situations. Actually, if I think about it, it's not exact. Okay, take this with a grain of salt because I don't want you guys to be upset. It's similar to Deku, but the way it happens is not similar to Deku, if that makes sense. Because I don't want you guys to go like, oh man, it's like a Deku situation, but it's not exactly. It's a way more nuanced and a way more natural, which I like. Also, the second main like male character, which is my favorite character, his name, let me get it right, Lino Ichikawa. He's actually a very interesting character. He seems to be the prodigy type, but very similar to Yuno compared to other like rivals slash, you know, main characters. He's not toxic. He's here to help Kafka for a good reason, and he's also here to become stronger himself. He's also a prodigy, but he's not the biggest prodigy, which leads into probably our main female lead, because Mina is also, again, she's not the main female lead, but the most important female character. And the main female lead that introduced later on, it seems like her name is Kikoru Shinomiya. Now she is very important. She's actually a prodigy more so than Lino, but Lino might be a sneaky prodigy. It's very interesting dynamic between those two. She is definitely a prodigy. She's like the best of the best that has come in a long time, and she's related to a very important person in the military who actually has a pretty interesting character himself, and I won't dive into him because that is for you guys to read about later. So these are, you know, some of the main characters to really look out for. There are two other important characters that I can mention as well, but one character gets mentioned later on, very much later on at the end of like the first part, and the other character is also someone who works with Mina. His name is Soshiro Hoshina. A lot of people's favorite character, is very badass, very similar to like Ginichimaru and how he goes about things. Very, you know, he has that kind of smirk. He works with swords, super badass and super hardworking, but very intelligent as well. A fan favorite for the most part. Now, the story revolves around Kafka trying to be a soldier like Mina. Mina is very popular in the organization. A lot of people are inspired by her strength and what she represents in the military organization, despite a few things that I do have questions about, but she is extremely powerful at the end of the day, very important, and really rose up the ranks in the military, where Kafka obviously didn't. Now, after Kafka got his newfound power, a lot of things change as he tries to be a part of the military organization again and meet up with Mina again and try to I don't know if it's a romance thing, because they're not far apart in age. Like, she's like right now she's in like her early 20s, I believe. He's in his 30s, of course. It's nothing crazy. We're all adults here. It's nothing too crazy, of course. And they do have a childhood kind of experience with one another. So I don't know if it's a romance thing, but it's definitely a respect thing for sure, because they grew up together. You know, they were friends when they were younger. So there is something there for their dynamic, but for the most part, it's really about, you know, defending against the kaijus. Now, the kaijus themselves are actually very interesting because we still don't know a lot about them. Now, Kafka and his powers obviously very related to the kaijus, but it seems like obviously a lot of these kaiju monsters invade, kill humans without any rhyme or reason, but we find out that there might be something underlying everything, as there always is for the Shonen Jump series, as we do find more intelligent kaijus later on for the series. Now, they're definitely going to play with that a lot more in future installments of, you know, Kaiju number 8, with the true essence of what kaijus are. One thing I do like is how the military organizations go about fighting against them. Now, one thing I will say is when we go deeper into the story with Kafka, Lino's story, and obviously Mina and Kikoru's story, there is a lot of characters introduced right off the start. Now, whether that's a good thing or bad thing, I'm not sure, because a lot of name drops and a lot of them are pretty irrelevant to the main story. The ones that I named are the most important characters in my opinion. So the other ones you may actually have, you know, become a fan of, because there's a kind of a exam training arc to start off with. So you may actually like that. But it's really up to you whether it's a hit or miss with all the very grandiose name of characters. But I like the training arc aspect, so if you guys like those like Chunin exam type of stuff, then you're gonna like this, of course. Their system of powers also very interesting. They use specified suits and they have kaiju embedded weapons, very similar to Tokyo Ghoul. How their weapons that they're using are made from ghouls. The weapons a lot of these military agents use are made from prior kaiju. So very similar premise there as well, which is very interesting. And obviously the people who are more adept, the people who have more potential, have the better weapons, have the, you know, make better use of their weapons, of course. And the story that progresses from there is also, like I said, very interesting. So it takes a lot of things from a lot of different stories that are very prominent, and it makes it work very well. It makes it mesh very well, and a lot of things that happen story wise seems to be very natural for the story, and it doesn't seem like it's overutilizing the aspect of Kafka's power, because at the same time he is, you know, has this power, but he has to be secretive about this power because he doesn't know how he'll be perceived, because it's a power that is utilized by a kaiju. And if you guys are very familiar with like Tokyo Ghoul, for example, revealing that you're a ghoul to an organization that kills ghouls is a bad idea. But it is a unique dynamic. So I like the Tokyo Ghoul aspect of that as well, in terms of the structure of how they're doing their story. And like I said, at the end of part one, a lot of things happen to where we are now in the story. So hopefully I've been selling it. I've been kind of jumping around on very interesting elements of Kaiju number 8 that y'all should check out personally, because I do think it has a lot going for it in the certain, like, it's what's it, I think 40-ish chapters, 30-ish chapters, I don't really remember, but in that short amount of chapters it has really set up itself with a very nice world building, a slew of characters with very key characters that we're focusing upon, very interesting power system and a dynamic in society. And I'm very curious to, once they dive more into the structure of kaijus, more into the structure of the society that they're living in, and to see what happens next. It could be a hit or miss going forward, because it's finally kind of finished up, it's setting up, and it's about to dive into its deeper story. So if you want to get into Kaiju number 8, the best time to get into it is now, as it's finally entering into one of their deeper plots, it seems like. That's all I got for you guys right now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video about Kaiju number 8. Of course, this has been your boy RTL Faith. I will see you guys next time. Peace out.